What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. Foodie put up a post about an hour ago where she wanted to summarize her feelings on the BBJ situation and basically says she's going to close this chapter. So, I guess to go through this piece by piece, I don't know that anyone is specifically shaming her. I think we're acknowledging her decisions were poor. The end result was unexpected, but certainly probable based on how little time and care she put into making sure BBJ was put into a proper home. And she goes on to say no matter what she chose to do, rehome or put the animal down, she was going to be villainized. Well, I mean, the reality is you were villainized for the choices you made for the animal. And I don't know that anyone has said that this going as way as FFG's family having BBJ is a bad thing. I think holistically, although people can differ on whether this was the right way to handle this situation or this was a genuine and honest way to get the animal, the end result is the animal is in proper care and there's no question the animal will be taken care of the best that it can. As far as the way people perceived Chantal doing this, it was the way she went about it. You know, the way she mocked putting the animal in a wood chipper, mocked putting it in a bag, almost disregarded it before its time. It was her actions and the way she projected toward the cat, the way she clearly manipulated her audience by saying, this cat is ill, it's crying all night, I believe it's going blind, when all she was doing was simply mistreating it. She then goes on to talk about Salah and her, and I don't understand this aspect of it because, quite frankly, Salah has nothing to do with this. Salah has never met BBJ. They've never been in the same country. So for her to sit here and say, well, now that I'm deeply in love and I want to plan my life, all of a sudden this cat has kind of gotten in the way, fair enough. Things happen in life, and sometimes you have to find different solutions. The problem is you went about publicly trying to solve this problem in the worst way. So to sit here and show pictures from 2004 and 2005 and say, well, because I have this, it limits what the community has the right to say about myself and Pete's is just completely unfounded. It's not that BBJ's nails growing into their pad was the biggest problem. It's that we were told BBJ was having problems walking due to their age, when the reality was they had not been groomed enough or properly and were actually hurting when they walked. You were then using this as the baseline for why you were getting rid of the animal. You had all the time in the world. You were a YouTube creator. You don't have to stream every day. You don't have to show up and punch a time clock. You had all the time and all the means available to take that animal in to get properly cared for, whether it was going to a groomer, a vet, a pet store. You are the one that made the decision not to. And as far as the concept of the day that they came to get her was the day I was going to do all this is so irrational. And it actually, in many cases, makes your situation worse because it shows how irresponsible you were. Because you are the one that had total control of when you invited someone to your home. You could have easily said, I am not going to allow you to pick up the animal in this condition. I'm going to take it to go get its nails clipped first, let them do a diagnostic on the animal, and then from there we will move forward. And the fact that you continually call her Goblin as if you were comic book villains, you know, as if it's Batman and Robin against the Goblin. You should be honestly thanking this person. Set all your personal issues aside and thank her for taking care of this animal, for removing the expense from you, because that, in my mind, is the problem you had. You didn't want the expense. You didn't want the payment because you're selfish. You're greedy. You wanted to keep the money for yourself, spend the money on your Starbucks. You didn't want to pay for anything for BBJ. And then you have the audacity yesterday to open up a playpen for your hamster. You don't deserve that hamster. Because that hamster is going to be maintained and cared for the same way BBJ was, and we all saw it. Same way Sam was. No one is turning this into entertainment. It may be turned into views because people are interested, but you are the one that generated the interest because you are the one projecting the animal needed to be put down, and now we see that is very much not the case. And this isn't milking it for all it's worth. It's simply people wanting to see a story that's positive in this entire community. A redemption story, for once, where an animal that was completely left, told that it had days remaining, now has the ability to thrive. As I said, you continue to project, since animal welfare came out, and they looked at the cats and everything was fine, this clears me of any wrongdoing. Chantal, you can justify this in your own mind however you like. However you like. You can sit there and say that I posted these pictures to demonstrate how much I love and care about my animals, and that I wouldn't let anyone take them away from me. Well, you did. You did. And I hate to break it to you, your true supporters are dwindling. Your true supporters are dwindling. We see it every day because you push people away. You push people away because you treat them in many ways the same, if not worse, than you treated this animal that thankfully has also been pushed away, but into the arms of a loving home. You continue to say that you're going to go after her. How? Chantal, how? Do you even want to put the money toward going after her? So let me understand this. You want to put money toward going after her, but you didn't want to put money towards taking care of the animal. So I honestly hope that you close this chapter. I honestly hope that you move on. Because if not, all you're going to do is continue to have the same sentiment promoted toward you. There's no one that's condoning what you did. And you're not going to find a person that's going to do it either. You projected that your cat was in extremely poor health, an advanced age, and you were going to put it down because that was what you felt was best. And we all learned that was categorically false on every level but the cat's age. And you continue to sit here and bring up what FFG had to do to her dogs. It's despicable. She did what she had to do for her dogs. The worst choice that you can make from an emotional standpoint, but the best choice you can make for an animal. You were going to do the same thing, but you admit the fact that while you were going to do the same thing she did, she had to do it because of the animal's actual health. You were going to do it because the animal was an inconvenience to you. And yes, everyone is praising this. And no, it's not cat theft. If you could have walked yourself simply down the stairs, perhaps you would have been able to see FFG in the back of the car, disguise or not. If you had actually taken the time to look into who was getting this pet that you claimed to care for so much when rehoming it, then this would not have happened. So you can go ahead and tell us that you're going to travel the world and be happy, that you were just going to bees and leave everyone else in the dust. I often wonder, now that there's no cats in the home, since you mentioned dust, how long are we going to see you covered in cat fur when you go on lives to drive down to Starbucks or wherever you want to go to get your next meal? I will say at the end, you were right. You did let BBJ down. I'm glad you admitted it, but you didn't let her down with who she's affiliated now. You let her down because you didn't care for her proper. And that's exactly why you don't have her anymore. And as far as bringing up the loss of Pete's cat, again, to justify yourself as a good owner, it just shows the caliber of person you are. You know, whatever we want to think about Pete's now, Pete's has been the constant for you. Pete's has been there for you when everyone else kicked you to the curb. Everyone else kicked you to the curb. And now you want to bring up the loss of his pet to justify how good you were to yours. Well, again, Chantal, if you haven't been watching, and I'm sure that you have, you understand what's going to happen to you. Salah is going to kick you to the curb, and you're going to be left in the middle of Kuwait with no one else to call, nothing else to do, and probably not enough funds to get home. You're going to go online like you did before. You're going to, instead of begging for food and shelter, you're going to beg for a plane ticket from your VIBs. And that money's going to take more than a month to get there. And then you're going to know what these animals felt like. So just remember, when you get kicked to the curb by Salah, Pete's was there for you when everyone else wasn't. When everyone else turned their back, Pete stayed there. And you want to shame him for his animal to make you seem like you were in the right. When no one is there for you, you will be the one to blame. And maybe then you'll figure it all out. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching it. I will be back as soon as I can with more comments.